Hello and welcome to episode 90 of Dorki's Entropia Universe report. Today's episode covers the week from 8th to 15th of February 2021, and I must say that it was a rather weird week. Several things I did not expect to happen did happen, and while I ended this week in a rather significant profit, I now returned back to sweating, unamped mining and car park BJs from Shy Vixens. I will explain why later in the video, but first let me say that I love my neighbors. Someone started some sort of a project in their apartment again, so I will get to experience several weeks of construction noises from 8 in the morning till 6 in the evening. Just in case you are wondering why I said I loved them, of course I was being sarcastic. This building is full of assholes who think they need to completely redo their apartment every year or two. Anyway, I got up really early so that I can avoid the shitfest of trying to record today's episode while the workers are going to town on the walls with a jackhammer. Anyway, let's get into the Entropia Universe stuff proper now. First off, let me address the elephant in the room, which is the Leviathan Young Uber mentioned in the title of today's episode. I took some 1.2k PED of universal ammo and a lovely CDF gun and spent a bunch of hours slaughtering Leviathans on Thursday. My original aim was to finish the 6000 kill points on Leviathans and claim the 22 PED of perception skill from the mission. I did expect a nice multiplier and a small profit from the hunt. It was more of a gut feeling than anything I can explain to you here in the video, and the gun I was using was a part of it. I originally wanted to go do the hunt with a different CDF gun which I already had on me, but I had a feeling I should get a different one for this hunt. So I bought a Marine Prowler for 100 daily tokens and used it instead of the CDF version of Omegaton M83 Predator that I already had. Maybe I would have hit that Hoff with the Predator as well, but I guess I will never know now. Either way, if you noticed that I am not maxed out on the Marine Prowler, I will explain why I was using it anyway. I am maxed out on the hit ability, but not completely maxed out on the damage yet. And while this does negatively impact my DPS with the gun, I was reasoning that it should not impact the returns under the loot 2 point whatever. Loot returns should be calculated based on the cost of the kill, so unmaxed damage should be compensated for. This does not mean that using the unmaxed old school weapons is completely fine now though, since missed shots probably would not get paid back in loot. And I am talking about the missed shots, not mob evades. But at least using weapons where you are maxed out on hit but not completely maxed out on the damage yet should be fine, I think. Anyway, I felt I should use this gun on this particular mob at that particular day. And so I did, and the result I managed to luck my way into was quite something. I started hunting and the loot was the usual Leviathan Young pile, but it started getting better after about 40 minutes. Then some dude somewhere nearby in my general area hit a 600 PED-ish Hoff, and a bit later, after I was about done bitching and moaning and swearing like a sailor, I downed some random Leviathan Young and this happened. I did start this hunt expecting to get a small Hoff, or at least enough globals to make a small profit, but I must say that I did not expect to hit a 4669 PED Uber Hoff. I guess I really chose the right time to switch from sweating, unamped mining and hunting shy vixens and small exarosaurs up to a mother-trucking Leviathan. I ended my hunt with a bit over 4.6k PED profit. Afterwards I went a bit crazy getting some fast and cheap progress in Codex missions on Calypso and Tulan that same day and on Friday. And then I came to conclusion that the game entered the mode where it wants to take it all back. So I dumped all my profit into Deeds&Shares and buggered off to Entropia for some more sweating and hookers. That was about the time when a second surprise of this week came. My phone fell apart. And the third surprise came when I was buying up the deeds. But I will talk about that one a bit later after I have gone over my avatar's progress for the week. I am almost done with my activities now. Apart from hunting that I mentioned thus far, I did a bit of crafting and a poop ton of mining. I think I will release my crafting run on level 3 amps as a separate video later in the week. Let's go over my skill gains now though. I gained somewhere around 1000 skill points in total, so I am now at 363,699 total skill points. I also gained a hit point and am now at 242 hit points. In fact, I almost gained another one before I ditched hunting and went back to the cheap activities that I usually do for profit. I also gained a few attribute points over the week, thanks to the Codex rewards. Most significant gain out of those were the 2 points of stamina. Anyway, let's go over the deed and share payouts for the week now. And while I did talk about the shares only last couple of weeks, I can now talk about some of the deeds as well. I bought some Arcadia Moon deeds from my profit, but I will not talk about those in this episode since I bought them at the end of the week and they are not on a weekly payout schedule. However, I can tell you how much Calypso land deeds paid this week. Yep, I finally bought a single CLD. They are overpriced as fuck in my opinion, but I decided to buy one anyway after the HOF that I got this week. I think it's been a running joke since the beginning of this series of videos that I have not bought one yet and perhaps will do so once I finally hit my all-time high. I have not gotten my all-time high yet, obviously, but I did get that one solitary CLD now. So the payout from the Calypso land deed today was 3 pets and 69 packs, which seems to be rather underwhelming for a deed that costs 2.6k and upwards. But to be honest, same sum invested into any of the other deeds and shares would yield less than that most weeks. Perhaps the Arcadia Moon deeds might be better at some point in the distant future if you bought them at current prices and they actually started paying well. But right now, CLD does seem like the best option, even though I find it difficult to admit. I guess I still have not gotten over the fact that how much they went up in price since they were originally sold at 1000 PED back in the day. By the way, I do plan to keep this one CLD for the years to come, although I do not think that I will buy another one anytime soon. If I make decent profit in game in the future, I will likely buy some cheaper deeds and shares unless I happen to pop another huge one, which is extremely unlikely since I will be sticking to the cheap activities for quite a while now. When it comes to shares, Ancient Greece shares did not surprise me at all. After several weeks of payouts, they did not pay anything at all today. And to be honest, I do not expect them to pay anything next week either. I do hope I am mistaken there though. I want them to do well, but it does not seem likely. The good news for next island is that while the payout streak was ongoing, for the Ancient Greece shares, roughly couple thousand of them got sold from the original 10 PED a share stack. However, a few stakes priced lower than that popped up later in the week, and some more appeared this morning after another dividend payout failed to materialize. On the other hand, Crystal Palace shares paid out 3 pecks per share today, and while they were selling at around 17.60 per share over the last 7 days, all the cheaper stakes disappeared after today's payout. All of a sudden, the cheapest stake available for purchase was priced at 18.77 pence, and the first bigger stake was priced at 18.80. And while the price changes for both Ancient Greece and Crystal Palace shares are understandable, I do think people are doing it wrong if they start buying a bunch of new shares or selling their stakes based on just one payout. Just because Crystal Palace shares paid a bit more this week, it does not mean they suddenly became a better investment. It does not say anything about how they will pay in the future. Same goes for Ancient Greece shares. Just because they paid like 3 or 4 times in a row, they did not suddenly become a good thing to buy, and the fact they did not pay anything this week does not mean people should start selling all their shares. I guess what I am trying to say is that dumping your shares just because they underperformed one week, or buying a bunch of new ones at a higher price just because they paid well once, might be a good way to lose money rather than a way to make some. It is a much better idea to consider how they have been doing over a bit longer period of time and what is their potential for the future price and payout increase. But that is enough about the deeds and shares for today. To conclude, this week was quite good for me when it comes to Entropia Universe. I made a very nice profit and get to keep it all since I dumped everything into deeds and shares and went back to sweating for the time being. Well, I guess I could still lose it all if the deeds and shares I bought suddenly lost all their value, but that is not likely to happen anytime soon. I will likely do some mining and cheap vixen hunting over the coming week. However, I do plan to spend most of my time in Entropia Universe just AFK sweating haters. I had my fun and I fully intend to keep my avatar profitable throughout this year, although I did decide to back off from my goal of building up a pile of pets to withdraw at the end of the year. Instead, I decided to invest it all into deeds and shares that will keep paying me back in the years to come. It is about time to build a proper stash of these things to supplement my other in-game efforts. Because of this, I decided to set a new goal of hoarding as many deeds and shares as I can before the year ends. So unless something significant changes, expect to see me go over my gains at the end of 2021. Anyway, aside from the nice profit that I made this week, I also made some skill gains, attribute gains, and I gained a hit point. And now that the game entered the bugger Dorki out of all his profit phase, I am back on track for my quest to become the level 100 sweat gatherer. Do not worry though, that quest shall not end anytime soon. My detailed and extremely complicated calculations tell me that I shall not reach level 100 sweat gatherer sooner than at the end of the next century. By the way, my week outside Entropia Universe was mostly poop. My smartphone got so smart it sprouted legs and ran off for the greener pastures. In other words, it decided to fall apart like a piece of cheap trash that it was. So that is a nice hole in my budget for the rest of the month. And that's pretty much everything I wanted to share with you today. I hope you had a good time both within and outside of Entropia Universe over the last week and that you will do well in the coming week. Thank you for watching and please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Thank you.